What's up, everybody, and thank you so much for tuning in to 305 Radio, a part of 305 Magazine on your number one underground station, MiamiUndergroundRadio.com. I'm your host, Dre Mob, and you can catch me on the gram at 305_Brownie.
What's good? This is George, 305 Magazine, and thank you for tuning in to 305 Radio. Now, ladies and gentlemen, tonight we have special guests, the organizers of P.A.T.H, which is preserve. Whoa. Now everyone one time. Whoa. Preserving
archiving and teaching hip-hop.
Man, I love this. So let's go around the room real quick and let's all introduce ourselves.
My name is Natalie Lewis Shear. I'm the executive director of the organization.
My name is Sarah Knobs. I am the program director.
My name is Evio Exil. I'm known as the stage name Evo. I'm a poet, lyricist, and a musician.
I am Brimstone, bringing rhythm and multi-sonic turbulent overdoses near an explosion. I get it popping without the pills, cracked out the crack, and I get it in without the meat on the skin. Can you smell me, lumberjack?
Yeah.
Woo! Yo, by the way, Brimstone's a legend in Miami. Not for nothing. Homie has been rocking mics before most of the cats you listen to have been rocking mics. That's a fact. So,
can you guys tell us a little bit about the organization and how you guys started and how you guys came together?
Well, the organization P.A.T.H began with a vision probably around 1997 where hip-hop education started entering facilities, or actually it started entering the realm of education, hip-hop entering into education facilities. So about 10 years later, we had the opportunity with Miami Light Project to launch the first P.A.T.H Hip Hop Summer Academy, and ever since then, it's just been going strong.
excellent, man. Excellent. Now, how did the idea of P.A.T.H come to mind? Where did putting such an organization together come from?
Well, there's many stages it takes place. The initial birth stage began with my concept, and then it grew into what Natalie brought to the table. So just to speak briefly, in 1997, I was teaching b-boy classes, which is breaking classes at the JCC. And I noticed that the younger students, the teens, started asking me a lot more questions about Miami history and hip-hop history in general, not just about the dance moves. So that's when I began thinking about, well, it would be really interesting if there was actually a place where people can go to learn about the culture of hip-hop. And so, as I mentioned, this process took 10 years until it was finally introduced to the Miami Light Project. We ran the first P.A.T.H Hip Hop Summer Academy in the year 2008. It was a 4-week program, and our initial instructors were B-Girl Beta, who's an internationally known B-Girl.
Shout out to Beta.
You already know. Beta rocks.
We had women in hip hop. Let's go.
No doubt. We had Soulflower, she was our MC instructor. We had Crave, Daniel Fila, who's a brilliant artist, and we linked up with Scratch DJ Academy, who's also been our partners ever since. The event was so successful that they invited us back a second year. And in that second year, I met Natalie between the two, between this summer. And I invited her to come sit in and give us some feedback, because she was also involved in education and hip-hop at the same time. And she'll tell you a little bit about what she noticed and how it grew from there.
So around the same time, I was living in Rhode Island, also running youth programs through an organization called Project New Urban Arts. And we were also working with young people on the hip-hop elements, personal development, leadership development. And then I moved to Miami. I was an educator for many years. I came on with P.A.T.H as a consultant their second year, and just had some feedback about expanding it beyond the summer program. So in 2009, I was living in the Caribbean, but running the organization from there. But we expanded from a summer academy to just year-round programming. We were working with schools, nonprofit organizations, for-profit organizations, and from there we've expanded to include youth programs, community programs. We do quite a bit of work in substance abuse prevention and intervention, doing group therapy, using hip-hop as a modality for healing, and we also have a strong scholarship component that we've been working on, documented by NYU and a number of other universities around the country.
That's amazing.
Now, hold on. Now, that's the book version.
Oh,
Now we're going to give you the dirty version.
no. Dirty.
Here's the dirty version. in 2008, I needed work. I needed a job. And I said, well, I don't have much of an education. I have hip-hop culture under my belt now for over 20-something years. And I want to pitch this concept of the summer program, this hip-hop arts summer program. Like we said, Miami Light Project was on board and was beautiful. The second year when Natalie came along, she said, yo, I see you're doing this art and it's really cool, but what are the kids really learning? I said, what do you mean what they're learning? They're learning hip-hop. They're learning MC and B-boy and DJ and urban arts. She said, no. What are they learning? And I didn't have an answer. I was like, I just told you what they're learning. She said, what are you doing to prepare them for their future? And at that moment, I realized I needed someone like that to come on board because I really had no idea how to take it to the next step. And that's the real story, how it grew beyond it just being an arts program.
That's incredible, but it was the next step. You know what I mean? That was the unlikely, like, it just came out of that field. That was your next step in your evolution with this.
Absolutely.
So, my friend, when did you come aboard?
Oh, I'm actually a student of P.A.T.H. So how I got into it, I was actually in a poetry competition called Piano Slam, run by the General Foundation. And at the time, Brimstone was the DJ, and I usually come like to watch the Piano Slam shows like previous years, seeing him rocking the ones and twos. So 2016, I was a finalist for Piano Slam. And, I performed, did this, that, and the third. And then a month after my performance, Brim gave me an email, saying that I just received a scholarship to attend P.A.T.H. on the P.A.T.H. program, And then I went, it was an amazing experience, bonded with the other, students, got the chance, to express myself, rap, all of that, and get to, like, the history of hip-hop and, like, the background. And ever since then, like, a lot of opportunities have been, like, coming through at the door. Here and there, thanks to, these guys, led me to here, in a radio, show, man.
All right.
Here we are.
That was good.
305 in the building, it's not a game.
And shout out to our partners all over the city, from Piano Slam to Miami Light Project to the Actors Playhouse, Young Talent, Big Dreams, who really have been a feeder for a lot of our programming, and that we've had the opportunity to meet young people like Evo and so many other young people throughout the city has been a tremendous blessing, and it really fuels our work for sure. So.
Well, it's great that you say that because hip-hop is a worldwide thing. I mean, hip-hop used to be something that you only had in certain boroughs and certain different parts of the world. Now it's a worldwide movement. And me growing up, I fell in love with hip-hop from the first moment that I had my ears on it. And they always told me hip-hop is not the way. But clearly hip-hop is the path. So congratulations to you guys for putting this together. What exactly is it that you do with P.A.T.H.?
So I am the program director. I came on about 6 years ago as an intern. I came down from Boston.
No, you gotta pull it back. Tell them what really happened.
Give me the dirty version.
Tell them about that first phone call.
Actually, yeah, I found P.A.T.H. just on a Google search because I was looking for grassroots programming within the music departments. I was looking to go into music management. When I found P.A.T.H., I just started calling and sent my resume, and I wouldn't leave him alone.
And we said, we have no money. We cannot pay you anything. We can't fly you.
It's okay. I'm a bartender. I can make it happen. So yeah, I came on and I started as an intern. We thought I'd only be here for one summer. And then the next summer they invited me back as the assistant to the executive director, which is Natalie. And then became the program coordinator from that. And this year I am the program director. So really I'm just a student of P.A.T.H. myself, actually just learning all the way around.
It's a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
Keeps us in line. We're grateful.
I mean, so you are break dancers? What's going on here?
I think Brim is our representative for that.
I mean, no, but I guess the real question is, how'd you guys fall? What niche in hip hop did you fall into before that led you into this path here?
Sure. It's funny. We were just talking yesterday about a group of Filipino young people that I grew up with. I'm a military brat, as they call us, whatever. But in our communities, dance was the primary element that folks really got into. So that was really the foundation. And then I'm classically trained in the arts, but as I became like a teenager, hip-hop was a lot more influential in my life. And I used to MC And then I stopped emceeing to support young people in doing what they're doing. So I don't MC anymore.
Drop 16.
You want to drop? So you're gonna have to drop 16.
Yo,
So
you gotta come to our fundraiser next Wednesday night at the Lightbox to catch me dropping any.
how about what? That's you heard, Jay. You heard what I heard.
Yeah,
I heard.
get your tickets bit.ly path to hip hop.
I heard you. I heard. What I'm hearing is that you're gonna drop 16 about the fundraiser coming up, right? Is that what's going on? Because I know we could. I know.
Wednesday night, be there. Be there. So
Okay.
yeah, no, I'm a lover of all of the elements, but that's the one that I practiced, and now I
Okay.
support in all areas.
That's dope. So I want to hear you spit rhymes.
Wednesday, fundraiser, Miami Light Project, 7 p.m., doors 6:30. Let's go.
Where can they get their tickets?
You can get your tickets at bit.ly/path to hip hop. P.A.T.H. TOHIPHOP.
Hey,
Yeah.
yo, that was dope. All right, I was as close to it as I was gonna get to.
For now.
For now.
Wednesday.
But yeah, man. So, my man, you wanna spit 16 here? You gonna take the mantle?
Got you.
I mean, we don't have headphones, so I'm gonna have to play something off my phone.
Oh, okay.
I mean, if I find,
Beatbox for him.
There you go.
yo, what? Yo, hold on.
Hip hop culture.
So-
Foundation hip hop culture.
So whenever this goes up, whenever you're listening to this, I'm just telling you right now, Brimstone is about to beatbox, and his student is like Shaolin. His students is about to step up and show us a few things. Also, now you go live, right? Now she goes live. Now's when Drea goes live, all right? So give me a second here. I'm gonna do something better. I'm just gonna record the video. F that.
Y'all ready?
All right, you ready? So, Brim, you ready?
Yeah.
You ready for this?
Yeah, I'm ready.
I mean, whoa.
Is that good?
Yeah. Yo. Check. This a freestyle coming out the mouth of a villain. Mind of a hero, I'm known as Evo, EVO. The elegant villain of originality. Blast from the past, about to kick it to reality. Spitting assy like a loogie. You can never move me. I'm busting like a Uzi. Yo, coming off the top, off the dome. And this, my hair is nappy. I need a comb. Got one piece of many doughs. One peak with many flows. Break the lock, beat the clock. Tick tock, your time is up. I'm on the moves, I'm blasting out. Haters already tapping out. It's switch and mission. I'm on a mission with clear vision. My intuition on the guidelines. Spitting rhymes to my lifetime. It's my time. I'm like a diamond stay shining in the dark. Grinding in through the struggles. Got the cheddar like the ruffles. Boom.
Woo! EVO, my man, EVO.
That's what's up.
Man, let me tell you, it's about damn time someone came on the show with some craziness. Is what it is. Oh, it's gonna get crazy.
That's why we here.
That is dope, man. Thank you very much, bro. So it's,
You're calling out all these rappers.
I mean, hey, listen, it's done. If you ain't coming, if you don't come to this show and spit like this, man, don't come to the show. Word.
Where's hip hop at, huh?
Where's hip hop at?
Evo got it. It's in here.
Man, no, but you know what? Thank you. That was dope as
Oh,
fuck.
appreciate it.
That was super dope.
Through
I
the
really liked
program, also, Evo, for example, he learned about urban art, graffiti. You know, the original term for graffiti is writing. And he actually started designing jackets, and people were jocking his jackets so hard, they wanted to hire him to develop jackets around his high school. So he started making a little extra cash hustling jackets, but he learned that skill at our program. And we take it back, we take it back to the old school. They're on denim jackets. They're working with my...
Oh, like the old school, the same materials for your cast?
Yeah, that's what you would paint on the back, the gesso, right?
Oh,
and so our graffiti instructor last year, who's also our instructor this year, his name is Mech from AIM Crew, Artist in Motion Crew. He's been writing in Miami since about 85, 86. He was one of my teachers when I was coming up in the graffiti game as well. So it's amazing that I can bring my teachers that taught me when I was even younger than Evo, and now they're coming around and teaching him. He's using these same skills that he can actually go out into the world, and it's a little extra hustle. Not only can he rap, he knows now, because of the skills he's learned, how to host a party, how to rock somebody's jacket, how to set up a sound system. So those are the type of skills you get. It's not just, well, here's how you rap, and that's also what Natalie brought to the table. What other skills can they learn besides the arts?
Why do you think it's so important to teach, especially the youth, about hip-hop?
Bridge the gap. Bridge that gap. We need to have the connection, because if you don't continue to tell the story, it will be lost. You know, so we need to make sure that the past generations are here to just let these generations know that it's how it's got to go.
And it's also like to know like basically where you come from, you know,
Yeah.
just like basically know the roots and to show that respect, because you know without these cats, you know, that did it like Tupac, Nas, or like, you know, Grandmaster Flash, you know, African Bambaataa, without these guys, you know, we wouldn't have, you know, these rappers we have today, you know. So
Evo, excuse the question, but I want to know, how old are you?
I just turned 18 this month.
God bless your soul. I actually met a couple of teenagers the other day, and they have no idea who Tupac or Biggie are.
They're not real.
And for me, I was just like, hold on a second, like, these kids are totally playing with me. Like, you guys know who Tupac and Biggie are, right? Had no idea. So this is so refreshing to see an 18-year-old that actually knows about these people. Thank you, P.A.T.H.
Yeah, all things to P.A.T.H.
I think one of the beautiful things about hip-hop culture is the intergenerational experience, because here we are, I'm 44, hanging out with an 18-year-old, picking him up at his house. In any other context, it would seem strange. But because it's hip-hop culture and you have this intergenerational connection, it all makes sense. We can talk about music. I can listen to his mixes. We could go to Wynwood and check out the walls and discuss it. And that's the beautiful thing about hip-hop culture.
It's a beautiful thing.
No doubt.
That's one of those things where you can't do that with a lot of people. It's like you would have back in the day, you couldn't go into a museum and with your squad and enjoy a painting. In the sense of, it sounds boring as shit. Granted, I'm with you. But to people, the creatives, the people that appreciate art, you could go to Wynwood and that's our canvas. I can't, listen, I'm nothing close to Crave, Abstract, none of these homies. Nothing, I can't even touch none of them. Gons, I'm not even as angry as Gons. But that's the whole thing, like, all these great artists, like, they put in work and they put masterpieces up. When you have someone you could post up with and just enjoy that, that's not with everyone. That's like playing catch with your friends. You know what I mean? It's something that it's a breath of fresh air for me to hear, because I go up and down Wynwood all the time just to take pictures, and I don't see a lot of people enjoying the walls, but I see them doing video shoots. You know what I mean? And that's the thing. And you know, Brownie, you know, you saw the graffiti documentary we were working on.
Which is amazing, by the way.
I gotta show it to you guys when you get a chance.
Shout out to Jokes Flick.
Shout out to Jokes.
Oh, yeah. Jokes needs to holler at me. STV crew specialized for vandalizing.
Oh!
I saw the trailer, and we need to talk.
Oh, bye-bye. Hey, listen. Talk
Jokes
to
is
me.
my people for years and years and years and years.
So we gonna do this.
Yeah.
Yo, this got crazy, man.
But back to the question, I'd like to hear, you know, because you were asking what were the elements that people first got involved in. So, Sarah, what was yours? That's something I don't know about you.
Really, you know, music just always spoke to me. I was an athlete growing up, I was never an artist, but I always found strength through music. Hip-hop was what I was drawn to. It spoke to me personally. So when I wanted to get into music, I knew that the category of which I wanted to dive into was hip-hop. Not only because of the sound, but because of the culture behind it, because of the unity like we were talking about. I just felt the most comfortable within that group, you know? And finding your people, your family, that's what it's all about, right?
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah.
No, absolutely.
The path of life, right?
Exactly.
No pun intended.
I mean,
Right, yeah.
so how I know that. So you were doing, you were an MC.
She
Brim,
was dancing too.
you were
first.
dancing. You were doing performing arts, MCing. Brim, a little bit about yourself,
Everything.
sir.
I'll try and keep it brief, but 1983, 84 is when I got involved in b-boying. Let's say I quickly got into DJing real soon after, but then I dropped DJing. In about 87, 88, I took graffiti on, and that was like my first real hip-hop identification. When I was into b-boying, I was only 9, 10 years old, and I would hear about these wonderful places that people would go and dance. And I imagined it. They would say, yo, they have Kangol and gazelles and they're rocking, but I was too young to go out to those spots. Graffiti, though, I was a teenager, and I felt like I had total control of graffiti. I could pick up a can, I could sneak out my window, and I can go bombing. And I devoted years of my life to what we call as going all city. All city is when you get your name up in as many places as you possibly can. So we would take the train, we would take the bus, we would ride our bike, and just put our name everywhere. The name of my crew was called STV. It was the first time that four major, so you had, graffiti was separated into different boroughs, we can call them boroughs in Miami, where you had South Miami, North Miami, Hialeah, you had Miami Beach, and South Miami and North Miami, like from, South Miami to Homestead and North Miami all the way up to Broward, there was a lot of beef and tension at those times. There was a crew called AIM crew, FA crew, RA, and WBB. WBB was a beach crew that stood for We Be Bombing for Miami Beach. And they were all real active. When you had crews out of Hialeah, like 7-Up, crews like that. But these four crews, AIM, FA, RA, and WBB, and eventually we added a crew called BOMB, came under an umbrella known as STV. Now, STV was a crew that was brought down from New York by a brother named the Brass King. And when he gave it to AIM crew was led by a man named Seal. And Seal said, look, what we need to do is unify the graffiti crews. At this time, I was just hanging out with the AIM crew. I was like their student. And they said, we need to unify these crews. Let's take this crew STV and become an umbrella crew. So what would happen is AIM crew would write AIM STV, FA would write FA STV, RA would write RA STV, and so on and so forth. So instead of a crew just being 10 riders, now you would have 100 riders pushing this one crew STV. Eventually, they brought me into STV I was the first member with another brother named Much, to be the first two riders that weren't affiliated with any other of the other crews, but to be the sole members of STV. I eventually became STV kind of disbanded in terms of being an umbrella crew and became a crew of its own. And then I started organizing it as a crew, learning what I did from AIM crew, from Seal. Now, in 93, 94, STV started becoming more like, a lot of them got into gangs, and I wasn't with that at all. I was trying to get them to start thinking about the entrepreneurial side of things. I would say, look, graffiti is getting big here. We got to get our photo albums together. We got to start putting out books. And they were more about bombing and fighting. I said, I can't really be a part of that. So in high school, I started linking up with some brothers, and we formed a rap group called Plan B. Plan B was, at this time, since 1992, Killian. Well, 1990, 91, 92. Now, Killian Senior High, if you ask the police about Killian in 1991, they will tell you that there was more graffiti writers in Killian Senior High than any other high school in all of Miami-Dade County. So when you would walk down our lockers, it was like you were walking through a subway. Like, it was crazy back then. But we also, coming out of my school in Killian, there was a brother named DJ Epps, who was there. I'm sure you guys have heard of that.
Shout out to DJ Epps.
My people. But our crew, Plan B, was always battling their crew. Back then it was called School Days, and later on became Last Straws. And there was always beef. So because we were the only two hip-hop crews in all the schools. So you can imagine, every lunch day, battling. We had dancers, they had dancers. We had DJs, they had DJs. So it was head-to-head battle. I think what really helped pull our scene together was in 1992, in Coconut Grove, we opened up a club called The Zoo. This was right on 32nd and Grand Avenue. It's now the post office. But every week it was my cousin, big up my cousin Jeff, who came up with the idea to put together a hip-hop club. There was other stuff going on in Coconut Grove, but not like this. Our DJs, this is the first time DJ Craze ever performed on stage.
Yeah.
Check this out.
Hip-hop history right here.
So we set up a battle with some kid DJ named Craze, another brother named Brooke, who was our DJ, and the classic hip-hop pioneer DJ from Miami, DJ Coupe DeVille, right? So I think Craze actually went on first, and then Kev said, you know what? We're not going to make it a battle. We're just going to showcase our skills tonight, because Craze was so crazy. and he was just bananas. He was just dancing all over the turntables. We never seen anything like that. So I think, and the beautiful thing about the Zoo was it was the first time that I knew of that crews came from North Miami, from South Miami, and started sharing the stage together. Mother Superior came out of the Zoo. Yeah. I mean, not that people weren't doing work outside, but this was a place for all of us to showcase our work.
What year was this?
91, 92. Then a brother named Gorilla and IMP got shot there and killed there, and that kind of mashed up the whole zoo vibe. But I think from there, I got much more into music production, sound engineering, and we learned how to just build our own studio. So we had a home studio called Plan Beat Studio, and a lot of the local MCs. At that time, people didn't have home studios like they do nowadays. We had a reel-to-reel, we had a 32-by mixing board, mic booth inside of our house. And that kind of became like the hub for local hip-hop, at least down south.
Dope.
Yeah.
That is incredible.
Oh, there's tons more, but I don't.
No, I know. Listen. This is an hour show, man.
Yeah, we can go.
This is an hour show, but man, that's so impressive because that's a chunk of Miami history I didn't know about. And we had Omen. Shout out to Omen, the Cypher.
305. We provided a lot of our archives for him to get his book. And,
I seen that. And you know when we had him on, we were talking about the way the book's put together and the way other people were like, hey, you didn't put me in there. Like, listen, homie, this is a chunk of history.
Right.
Like, right now we're talking about P.A.T.H. We're talking about Bryn, Plan B. Because I remember the Plan B. The Plan B beats, you put the flyers everywhere, and it was a little B.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then you were always in the flavor station.
Big out Roll Up,
rest in peace.
Yeah, man.
And then you have, while that's happening, while all that's happening, you have on the other side of Miami, DJ Raw.
Absolutely.
DJ Raw causing all types of craziness.
Shout out to DJ Raw.
Shout out to Raw.
Definitely shout out to DJ.
As crazy as Winwood was, homie was in control.
Holding it down,
doing his thing, and giving back to the community.
Absolutely. Beautiful story about DJ Raw. The Source magazine reached out to us for the In the Hood article that they used to write monthly, where they would go to different cities and find out about the local hip-hop community. The only name they had was Craze. They said, they knew Craze and they knew Speedy Legs from Hip Hop Elements. So we said, we know everybody will take you. We brought them to meet EF, Crazy Hood Productions. We brought them to meet Raw. This was my first time meeting Raw. So we roll up, and we're just like, it's like really professional feeling. You got cats at the gate watching. You got all this merchandise. It was so official. When we left, we're like, my brother Dion, he was like, yo, they don't just do music in there, right? And I'm just oblivious. I was like, yeah, what do they do? He's like, they just don't do music over there. Raw was such a gangster that he had a school bus with a pirate radio station that one day he drove up to 99 Jams, I don't know how he did this, took over their air, played nothing but their music for like some 20-some odd hours until the police had to remove him or however they dealt with it. But Raw is absolutely, he knew Winwood, he made Winwood what it is today. He saw the vision of Winwood way before. I mean, look at Winwood today. Yeah. Yes. Right?
Yeah, amen to that. And I mean that's
that's my man.
It's true. Big up Raw. And then this is the whole thing. My whole point is it comes back to this, that Miami, you had so much going on that no matter what part of Miami you're trying to document, you're going to miss something.
Yes.
And for us, especially, Drea and myself are big hip-hop junkies, especially for the local scene. And, for me, I'm glad to finally get you here because I met you a million times. And the whole thing is, coming up, you see a bunch of people coming up. And that's where you guys have been watching the come up from your positions. You were an MC and you were into the arts, and you went administrative. Then you're trying to come out with your own music, right?
Managed musician.
Managed musician. Yeah. So you're coming up with management aspirations. You coming up to just learn, grow, from fetus. Yeah, so you're good. Then Brim, you've seen so many artists come up in Miami. How does that? You seen, you were doing music, you were doing this at a time where it wasn't happening. And if it was like, oh, what are you trying to do? You trying to be Mobb Deep? You trying to be a Mobb Deep on TV? You trying to be the basement? You're gonna Rap City and all this, Yo MTV Raps. So how does seeing so many people from Miami adapt to the culture, become part of the culture, and actually make moves in the culture, like E18, Craze, all these people that, you see Craze down the street in Miami. Craze, what's good? How you doing? Some places, oh my God, it's Craze. Touch my hand. I'll scratch like you. I will learn how to scratch like you. And you have cats like Mayday. These are. Shout out to Mayday.
Big shout out to Mayday.
We don't talk about that now, but see, how's it resonate with you? seeing so much happen, and you were one of the originals, one of the pioneers in the city doing things?
Well, I would say, first of all, it's by the grace of God that I was positioned where I was at the time that I was there. I don't know, being at a certain place at a certain time, to me, is just that's where you're put. You do your work, and you learn from it, you document it, and you move on. That's why in P.A.T.H, P, preserving, A is for archiving. To me, archiving was such a big... It was so important to us back then to archive everything we did. That's why we were able to give stacks of flyers and photos over to Omen, because that's part of hip hop is archiving. If we didn't have the movie Wild Style or Style Wars or the books like Subway Art, we wouldn't know how to do what we're doing. If we didn't have Red Alert mixtapes, if somebody didn't come from New York with a Red Alert mixtape and say, here, this is who Native Tongues are, we would have no idea. We'd maybe still be in the shadows today, right? So archiving is such an important part of hip hop culture. But I feel like watching the scene grow in all the many pockets, I think now is the time for people to tell their story. Because if I come and share my story, as you said, they were telling Omen, well, why'd you leave me out the book? Yo, everyone is responsible for telling their story. Don't be mad if you get left out. Tell your version. Tell it. Otherwise, you may get written out. Like I can tell you, me and EFN sat in MIDI production class together in 1993. And the guy saying, look, there's the teacher. There's this new thing out called the internet. There's this thing called the World Wide Web. And we're like, what the hell is he talking about? www. And he's showing us this thing. We're like, what is that? I thought it was the end of the world. I thought Satan himself came through that television, and that was it.
the end of the world as we knew it.
Right.
Yeah, and it absolutely was.
Yeah,
Nick Fury. If you want to talk about hip hop history, Nick
shout out to Nick Fury.
I mean, this is
Liquid Shields.
Liquid Shields, Streetlight Poets. There was so many cats. Dynas. I mean, Dynas came to our studio on the earth. What I loved about Dynas' story, he came to our studio in like 93. He's like, I ain't feeling none of y'all beats, and he never came back again. I mean, that's just like, no, I'm not mad. I love that. DJ Chris, who's not, the Power Enforcer. What does he go by now? Chris. I don't know. And this brother, Chris and Coupe DeVille were like
Shout out to Coupe DeVille.
The top cats. TMS, the unforgotten Miami DJ. I mean, too much so that cat, TMS is really the foundation for DJs in Miami. Underground, Tom LaRock. As a youngster, going to Miami Beach and going to what they were pervert parties, but pervert was the name of the clothing brand. It wasn't like some kinky.
Yeah, I remember the pervert. Hey,
Right?
There was a record label too.
Yes.
It had the same logo.
And Beastie Boys were heavily involved with pervert. I remember probably being 15, 16, going to the pervert parties on Miami Beach, and Tom LaRock was like the hip hop god DJ. This one cat from New York just killing it. Whatever was the hottest thing or whatever you never heard before, that newest record, Tom was dropping it. Have Tom on your show. Tom has
This
stacks.
is a call for Tom.
Yeah, I'm telling you. Hey, Tom has stacks of the Source magazine up to the roof, from left to right. Records that much around the room. I mean, these cats, you got people in Miami that got so much hip hop history. It's crazy.
I need to do some interviewing, some more documentary. Shout out to Jokes.
Another
Jokes,
one.
we're gonna get to work.
Jokes, we gotta get to work. Speedy Legs, for real.
Yeah.
Gotta talk to Speedy Legs. And Chilsky. You gotta talk to Chilsky.
I keep hearing about Chilsky, man.
He is ill. Oh my God. His foundation.
Yeah, he's ill, but he was there before any of us were. And he was the youngster watching Speedy Legs. It's like his cousin Dash is probably one of Miami's best graffiti writers we ever had in all of history. And Dash is a true Miami hip hop historian.
Dope.
Rage.
Shout out to Rage.
That he was my bombing partner. We used to sneak out and meet in the middle of the night as teenagers and just go write our name everywhere.
Yo, Rage has some great stories.
Yes, he does.
Yo, we were doing the shout out to Rage, doing that. So while doing the documentary with the graph, yo, Rage, man, I have not laughed so much.
He's a funny cat.
That homie puts it down. So shout out to Rage. He gave us a lot of good info. He's
Absolutely.
a
So
historian.
I have a couple of things that I want to touch base on.
Please.
But we are getting close to coming to the bottom of the show, so we're going to kind of do this a little bit quick. Time flies when you're having fun and good conversation. So one thing I want to clarify. there's a little bit of a misconception of what the real elements of hip hop are. I've always known that there's 4. However, there's been a lot of conversation about there being a lot more elements, and I can see where that's going. But as P.A.T.H representatives, how would you explain that to somebody who has that question? And what are the elements of hip hop?
So, yes, it depends on who you ask. I mean, Temple of Hip Hop, Zulu Nation, others have ideas. But in our organization, we teach the 4 main artistic elements: are DJ, MC, writing, graffiti, urban art, however you call it, and b-boy and b-girl. We also teach the 5th element, knowledge, wisdom, overstanding, just to wrap everything up, because without that, we don't really understand what to do with the rest of them, and it doesn't become truly a culture. It just becomes something that's commercialized.
Right.
So ours are those 4 plus the 5th element, absolutely.
Okay.
And those are the same ones that are presented by Zulu Nation. The Temple of Hip Hop went on to identify also beatboxing, street entrepreneurship, street
Fashion.
language, street fashion. And so the reason why we do go into all those, but since we have such a small time, we want to make sure they understand the main artistic. That's why we call it the 4 main artistic elements of hip hop, not the 4 elements of hip hop.
By the way, I want to give a huge shout out to Elohim the Anomaly, who is on live with us.
That's in the building.
He said,
What's
"What
up,
else,
Jada's
Tito?"
dad? What's up, Jada's dad? Just very quickly, his daughter, Jada, who is an ill MC, femc, also an amazing artist, is a part of our organization. So definitely shout out to Elohim, Caridad, for the great job that they're doing raising their children in the culture.
Amen to that.
Yo, how dope is it that it's evolved to femc? Like, you could say femc and be like, no, but listen to her. And you're like, yeah, I'm gonna shut up right now. It's not legit.
And we got
And our femcs are fire. Y'all don't even know what it is. Home team is crazy.
So, for someone that wants to get it, so you have someone that wants to go join P.A.T.H. All of a sudden, they want to know a little bit more. How's it? Walk me through the steps. I want to get into P.A.T.H. So, yeah.
Go ahead, man.
And are you speaking of like
As if
teenagers
I'm a
or
teenager,
adults or anyone?
Anyone that wants to go to P.A.T.H., have a session with you guys, see what you're about. How do they go about it? Walk me through the whole process.
So, I mean, there are different levels. Again, they all sort of touched on the intergenerational piece. It's extremely important to us that adults have relationships with young people. And one of our objectives is for every young person that comes through our organization to have a relationship with one adult that is not their parent, that's not their teacher, and is not their pastor. Because a lot of the disconnection that's happening, we feel like for young people, is that adults fear teens or just think that they're a waste or their generation isn't doing anything. But the truth is we're not actually doing our job in terms of serving and connecting with them the way that we need to. And, when you miss a generation, you miss a generation.
That's
so,
a big spot. Miss.
Yeah, we think it's critical. We think it's critical, and also with the storytelling. Like, how do you tell your story if it's not being passed on? That's how culture gets shared. So for young people, there are a number of ways. We have our youth programs, which include the P.A.T.H Hip Hop Academy. So we have programming during the summer. We have a winter academy, and we also have a spring academy, so they can apply online and get involved in that way. For our summer academy cohorts, we then do a fellowship program throughout the year where students work on projects with us through partners. We do work with nonprofit organizations, for-profit organizations throughout the year. So if they apply for any of our academies, they automatically are just instant fam. So they get down throughout the year. There are opportunities for them to perform, work with us on production, a number of different things. For adults who want to get involved, we hire instructors throughout the year and provide employment for b-boys, DJs, MCs, urban artists, administrators, if that's what they're into. And that's just an application process. They submit their application. We do ask that they have at least a decade of experience in the culture before we bring them on deck. If
So
they're
did
artists.
we make it?
you definitely made it.
So, yeah.
You gotta pay the application fee.
That's what it is, right? And then we also connect with young people through different community organizations. Our partner organizations connect us with them. We connect with young people through those means. And we also do a lot of work with communities of young people that we call hidden populations because they're in juvenile justice system, they're in foster care, they're adopted young people, They're young people in transition in youth shelters. So we also do site-based work in a number of different facilities throughout the city, and that's how we connect with young people who may not be sort of on the traditional track to connecting with community organizations.
That is super dope.
That is really amazing.
That
And
is
whatever
so
we can do
fresh.
on our end to help you guys get that out and to get that information to the people who need it, I mean, that's what we're here for, so count on us and count on our support for that.
Good thing.
I definitely do not want to end this show without talking about May Day, so huge shout out to May Day.
Mayday!
That's like Mayday.
So,
Please tell us about this.
So, if you don't know who Mayday is, damn it, hit Google.
Yes.
Find out Mayday. Love Mayday. Go tell. How'd you guys get
George's favorite
involved?
group, by the way.
Yeah, no lie, for real.
Well, we were really fortunate to we're actually in the midst of a collaboration with Mayday. So we have the Mayday Path collab that's been going on for the last couple of weeks. We had the blessing of working with one of their members, Anonymous. So y'all know Anonymous? Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So Noms, he's actually been on staff with us this summer. He's also been doing some coordination work with us this spring. And so one of the ideas that we had was for each of the elements to have a master project that they work on. And Mayday and Drea were generous enough to just include us in a project that they were working on. They collaborated with us. They came. They did a master class with our students. They worked with our producers, mentored them. Our MCs wrote verses. They recorded the Mayday studio. It was amazing, and our students were so turned. It was amazing.
How dope
Shout
is
out
that?
to Mayday.
Shout out to Mayday,
Heck yeah.
Recognize, Burns, Anonymous,
man.
yes,
Yeah.
and Strange Music, Drea, all of it. Let's go.
Yeah, they are so dope, man. I'm so happy to see that you guys got together to do that.
Oh,
What
man,
was the
it's
effect on the
wonderful.
kids? Like,
Yeah.
what were the kids' reactions before and after? So, tell me a little bit about the kids before and after they met, like they went through this whole experience.
Wanna share some?
Well, at first, a lot of them didn't know who Mayday was, of course. So it was the introduction of just teaching them who these people are and their own community. So once they got the opportunity to take part in the master class, they saw some of the work that they did, got some inspiration through just their words and their process, how Mayday became so successful. And then we had a competition. The students wrote 8 bars, and they recorded, and we shared it across the internet, and people voted. We had great traction on that, and they got real amped up at that point. And from there, they went to the studio. I think once they really hit the studio is when they realized how amazing this opportunity was and how amazing Mayday was for sharing their space with them and teaching them and inspiring them. And for now, they're just hyped. They want to get back in studio. They want to do more projects. They want to see the process again. They're excited.
Mayday rubbed off on them, man. Those
yeah.
guys don't stop working.
Guys,
They don't stop working.
They are the real deal.
Just to add to that, I've been working in Pro Tools since probably 99 or 2000, and I thought I was a master at it. When I watched Recognize work up and down the board, I was taking notes. I was like, damn, what, for real? And people tell me how fast I am in Pro Tools.
Oh my God.
This brother was flying through that session, right?
Believe it.
It's true.
Real talk.
It's
I
true.
believe
It's
it.
true.
I believe it, man. So what's been one of the most impactful moments for you guys? Maybe individually or as a group?
Yeah.
So for me, what's been like impactful with me through P.A.T.H was just like just being able just to express myself, just to use my talents, go on, just have an opportunity just to just be myself, just without these cats I wouldn't know, have these opportunities I have, including this radio interview,
There you go.
Talk real briefly about Dice Raw.
Oh, actually, so in January, these guys actually hooked me up with Dice Raw.
From the Roots.
From the Roots.
Yeah.
Shout out to the Roots crew.
So he had a play called The Last Jimmy. So I actually played a role in that play as a guest appearance. Represent from Miami.
At the Adrian R. Center.
Adrian R.
That is dope.
Shout out to the Adrian R. Center. Shout out, bigs up to them. Yeah. So it just ever since then, I just been grateful to just have these opportunities, through the grace of God for just like putting a lot of people in my life, including P.A.T.H. So I'm just blessed, to express
That's
myself.
dope, man. That's
I
really
know
good.
it.
I
know it.
How about for you, Sarah?
I mean, I'm going to always go back to, like, the community, the family. I grew up moving around a lot, so finding a niche was always difficult. And coming to Miami, a new city, crazy city, without P.A.T.H, the balance is important, and it kept me grounded personally. I know that. And I always feel that you all have become the family, you know what I mean, surrounding me at this point, and the people that we partner with become the same way, and it just keeps on trickling outward and outward. And I now feel like I'm rooted here in the city because of just the stories I hear and the people I meet. You know, it's been a real blessing, a real blessing.
Well, welcome home.
Thank you.
Well, I would say my greatest moment in P.A.T.H was I got a wife out of it. I can't front. Because there's nothing in this world like a supportive partner that can really make everything you desire become true and take it to a level where you just never even imagined it. That's real talk.
So beautiful.
Qué lindo,
It
man.
was really the first round I ever kicked for it that won her heart.
Yeah. I just couldn't resist. Well, my family's from the Caribbean, and we are country people at heart, and I think community has always been an extremely important part of my rearing. And like they've said, I think it's just being a part of a family that includes little brothers, little sisters, older sisters, mentors, elders. It's just wonderful. And that's one thing that our alumni say always, that they miss being a part of the family when they go off to college, when they come in town. We have granola parties, we kick it, we rock. And although hip-hop is the foundation of the culture and the thing that we all share in common, really it's just being people together. And I feel like that's a lot of what humans are missing right now. And in this culture especially, where a lot of times we're attached to machines, we forget that like people have hearts and minds and souls and spirits, and that we need to connect with that and really tune into that source. So yeah, it's just being with other people and really connecting authentically and organically every day.
That is super dope. That's really dope. Well, guys, we're almost done. We're almost done here.
We are almost done, so I'm going to go ahead and take it around the table one more time. I want to make sure everybody that's listening knows where they can find P.A.T.H, how they can get involved, how they can reach you guys. So go ahead and share P.A.T.H's information as well as your personal, if you'd like to share that as well.
Before we do, can we just shout out the folks who really help make P.A.T.H happen through sponsorship, through support? So many of our programs are generously funded by Miami-Dade County Department of Cultural Affairs. We've also been funded by Miami Foundation, also by the Knight Foundation, as well as a number of individual donors and foundations. And we have an amazing partner right now, the Adrian Arsh Center, so definitely shout out to the Adrian Arsh Center for giving hip-hop an opportunity to flourish in one of the biggest institutions in Miami.
It's a beautiful place.
Oh, man, it's so beautiful.
Shout out to Adrian Arsh.
For sure. Please check us out. We have our closing cipher, the last cipher of our Summer Academy next Tuesday night, 7/7/18. Doors at 6:30. The show is at 7. You'll see DJs, B-boys, MCs, urban artists, B-girls, all of the above. We have a fundraiser the following night at Miami Light Project, who's one of our founding partners at Miami Light Project in Wynwood. Also at 7 o'clock, come through, make it happen. And you can learn more about P.A.T.H at www.PATHOP.org/youth, YOUTH.
Awesome.
And you can also find us on social media at P.A.T.H2HipHop.
Have to hip hop.
Yeah.
.org. That's it.
Well, I can't thank you guys enough for coming on our show. And like I said, we'll definitely help you out with whatever it is that you guys need. I want to make sure that everybody knows that we are here with 305 Radio, a part of 305 Magazine, every Monday from 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on MiamiUndergroundRadio.com.